We could be at an historic crossroad.
Certainly the Israelis and the United States administration have shifted from, we'll let the Israelis fight the war, to better not, to now it's we demand total unconditional surrender. The first time I think that the U.S. has demanded unconditional surrender from any other country since World War II, when they demanded it from Japan and Italy and Germany.
ABC News military analyst Steve Ganyard on President Donald Trump's call for unconditional surrender from Iran as Israel continues its campaign against the Iranians.
Now, that's raising questions, a lot of them. Each and every answer could have a major effect. Shannon Kingston is covering the State Department for ABC News and joins us. Shannon, we look for signs of diplomacy or signs of action. You can make the case the president's been moving closer to a military solution over the last couple of days. Is he?
Well, talking about answers, we don't have a lot of them right now, but we are expecting in the next 24 to 48 hours to have some more clarity, and that's according to officials who tell us that the president is currently poring over a range of options that have been presented to him by his top national security advisors. Those do include, yes, using U.S. military assets to strike Iran, specifically the country's nuclear facilities. But we also know that diplomacy is still on the table. At least that's what officials in the State Department are hoping for. At the same time, Iran's supreme leader, the Ayatollah, has rejected the president's calls for an unconditional surrender, and the Iranian Foreign Ministry is saying any American intervention would be a recipe for an all-out war in the Middle East.
Speaking of diplomacy, Shannon, it seems apparent the president's been talking regularly with Israel. Is there any communication on any level taking place with Iran right now?
There has been some quiet signaling from Iran going on behind the scenes, a very different message than what we've seen publicly. Iran is indicating to the U.S. that they do want to return to the negotiating table, but the problem right now is that American negotiators are looking for a lot more than just a willingness to continue talks. They want to see firm signs that Iran is willing to back down from some of its core demands, including the ability to enrich uranium on its own soil under any agreement, something that the president has said is just a non-starter.
It's ABC's Shannon Kingston with us here on Arizona's Morning News. Shannon, when we go back to the statement from the Ayatollah Khamenei saying that this would lead to all-out war, are we seeing any movement in the region from other countries saying, oh, yeah, we're ready to take a position on this and get involved?
Look, so far, most of the other countries, other powers in the region, the Gulf states, Russia, China, some of them have offered help with mediating. It's unclear how helpful they can be. But as of right now, they are staying out of the fray mostly. There are really no friends that Iran has in its corner right now that will come to its assistance. And that could prove really consequential here going forward because it's unclear how long Iran can continue its fight. We do know that its air defenses, its missile resources, those have been severely depleted over the course of about the last year as it sustained multiple attacks from Israel. So it is a big question how long Iran can keep up this fight.
And Shannon, the president is scheduled to meet with other NATO leaders in the next week or so. How could all of this impact those plans? And speaking of diplomacy, is there any sense NATO is on board with all of what's happening in the region?
Well, that is something that we're going to be watching very closely because, of course, we already saw the president decide to leave the G7 summit in Canada earlier this week. He departed early, headed back to Washington to monitor the situation in the Middle East from the Situation Room. He's scheduled to go to the NATO summit in the Netherlands at the top of next week. If those plans are taken down, it could be a sign that the president is pursuing military action, and NATO countries have really had a range of reactions toward Israel. They've a lot of them, like France, have called for the creation of an independent Palestinian state. So they've been moving towards that. So it is really a checkerboard there. But so far it's seen as, something that the U.S. is dealing with, the U.S. is potentially pursuing. It's not involving the entirety of the alliance right now.
That's ABC's Shannon Kingston with us here on Arizona's Morning News. Shannon, we appreciate the information.
Thanks for watching Arizona's Morning News. Click to watch more from KTAR News and hit the button in the middle to subscribe.